Ladies and gentlemen, this is our welcome to Plugged In. This is our last episode, family, on our understanding of the Matrix. This is our last episode on understanding the Matrix. Sorry about that. I will turn off my notification, and we'll turn off the notification so we won't be disturbed ever again. So let's get this thing right. I want to make sure that was not the microphone. But anyway, this is our last episode on this understanding the Matrix. Can everybody hear me? Everybody hear me? If you can hear me, definitely put a 1 into the comments, y'all. Please put a 1 into the comments if you can hear me. And I'm a little bit late because I have been working diligently, ladies and gentlemen. I was telling another person today that you got to be careful what you ask for, especially in this world of business, because you just might get it. You just might get it, ladies and gentlemen. And understanding what that simply means is that when you ask the creator, and everybody who can hear me, please drop a 1 into the comments. If you can hear me, drop a 1 in the comments. The comment section is on. The comment section is on. Now, for those of you who are following the streaming on TikTok, I still haven't figured out how to answer the questions on TikTok. But you can email me at don't email me. Go to whatever streaming platform you're on, wherever you view your podcast or listen to your podcast. Go there and you will type in "Plugged In with R.D. Muhammad," and that will bring you up on the streaming platform to where I can answer all of your questions. And I will say this periodically throughout the entire content of the show, because I haven't figured out how to look at the questions on live on TikTok, as well as let me see if I know how to pull this up now. Sound notifications. Let me nope, I won't deal with that. Don't want to deal with that. Let me see if I can figure out how to get the comments on. Draw and guess. Nope. Poll and gift. Nope, I don't want to do that. Comments. There we go. Ooh, boy, I done figured this thing out now. All right, now comment section is on TikTok. I've got that figured out, as well as the comments are open on the streaming platform. Now, this is the last episode of understanding the Matrix. I think you guys are well enough advanced, and I know that you are smart enough to already know how this thing works and why you have been losing. I think you're smart enough to know why you have been losing. Let's do a quick mic check on. Let's mute the mic. Let's do a quick mic check on. Mic volume is good. That's good. Okay, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about this thing called the Matrix, and not just over. And why we're ending this. Today, I put up a post that was basically explaining. I was watching this guy, and he was giving people who was advising or coaching or talking about LLC training and why you should start on your own LLC. He was just giving us the blues. And I include myself in that because I talk and teach. I advise people a lot about creating their own LLC. Now, the thing that he was going over was he was hyping this thing called S Corp. Now, you guys can write that term down: S Corp, C Corp, INC, CO, LTD. You want to understand and know what all of these abbreviated terms mean. INC, of course, you know, is incorporated. LTD is limited. CO, company, so forth, so forth. LLC is limited liability corporation, which is completely different from limited, LTD. Then you have your nonprofits, your 501s, your 503s, your 503Cs. There are so many different types of classifications in business, so many different types. Ladies and gentlemen, first you have to overstand, not understand. We don't stand under anything nowadays. The first thing that you have to overstand is which business classification works best for you. Now, the majority of people on social media don't know the difference between the businesses and a can of paint. That's not a derogatory shot. I'm not shooting shots. I'm not doing any of that. I'm basically stating facts. People know what these words, they know what they overstand what it is when they see it, but they don't really know what it means. They understand what it is when they see it, but they don't know what it really truly means. Ladies and gentlemen, I said earlier, you should not even attempt to file for an S Corp unless you are making at least $60,000 a year. That's not guesswork. That's not approximate work. That's proven IRS tax filers. Don't go out here and be getting no S Corp, no C Corp, and if you are not making $60,000 a year. Why is that? Somebody should have typed that in off the rip in the comment section. Why? But I'm gonna tell you anyway. One, you're gonna be paying into an employer tax on the $60,000. That means you're just paying on the employer tax. When you hit $60,000, then you can switch that over, and the majority of tax consultant or tax professionals will tell you this is when you pay into the employee tax, which is completely different. If you are a sole proprietor, which I don't coach none of my people in being no sole proprietor, you don't never want to put sole anything. And we're gonna get to that. We're gonna touch on that tonight. Why you should never be a sole proprietorship. Remember how we talked y'all? I'm gonna give it to you now. Remember how we told you about the play on words in the English language? Two variations of the way that you spell soul. They are spelled differently, but they mean the same. Can anybody say what that is in the English language or the American language? SOLE and SOUL. These are very important, y'all. We're getting ready to end the matrix. See, this is how the matrix tricks and dupes a lot of us. Remember there are two birth certificates. One of those birth certificates have the sole of your feet stamped on it. SOLE. The sole of your feet. Through the laws of divine law or your common law, every human being born has a soul. SOUL. Ooh, Lord, man, I'm finna give y'all the business tonight. I'm gonna give y'all the business. So when you claim to be a sole proprietorship, understand me, that binds you. It binds you, your social security number, to that EIN number. And you cannot separate or differentiate between the two any longer. When you have a sole proprietorship, you just married the straw man, the S-O-L-E, to the divine man, the S-O-U-L, to that debt. Y'all gonna learn something tonight. Y'all gonna learn something tonight. If you don't learn anything else, now you've learned. See, now you've learned that you got two birth certificates. Two birth certificates. You got the short one, and then there is one that is being held by the government. That's the long one, and that's the one that has your soul bound to the debt. You ain't got to take my word for it. Go back and research it. Ask Google, ask ChatGPT, where can you find your long form? You are issued, we as people, human beings, or human life on this planet, you are issued 3 certificates over the course of your life. 3 bond certificates over the course of your life. The first one is your 2 birth certificates, short, long, well, the long one and the short one. They give you the long one when your parents sign your soul back over to the government, which creates a straw man in all caps that you redirect all of your debts back to. See, your debts go to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve sends you that debt. And then what do you do? As we were taught in the blind, not knowing, what do? We sign our signature and say, we got it. I pay it. Now, and then the third and final certificate, which we will all eventually come to. You get that third and final ride, that death certificate. Now, what happens to all of that money that they've been flipping while you was a willing participant to redivert all of the debt back to yourself, and the government didn't have to pay nothing? Huh? They keep it. We talked about United States has already claimed, the Treasury Department of the United States has already claimed that the United States, now this was done in September. Y'all can go back and research this and research reputable websites. Reputable, not these half-cocked, many so-called quote-unquote journalists. Read reputable websites like Reuters, BBC, New York Post, The Atlantic Constitution, the LA Times, Wall Street Journal. Read reputable. And don't read one in particular party's newspaper. Read both so you can get a thorough understanding of what the Democrats are saying and what the Republicans are saying. This is why I read both news outlets. I watch both news outlets, and I read both types of newspaper, as well as independents. But the United States Treasury, they declared in September of 2025. Some of y'all didn't find this information out until either A, I said it at the first of the month, well, the 1st of March, or B, you didn't hear about it until it was announced publicly in February. Now, you count from yourself. That was the first time it was publicly put out in front of Congress, in front of the Senate, in front of the world was in February. So September, October, November, December, January, February. 6 months you didn't know that the country had filed bankruptcy. We've been broke. You heard me. Are you picking up what I am putting down? The United States has been broke for 6 months. Actually, before that, because up until last year, the first of last year, we were just paying the interest. We weren't making the payment. We were just paying the interest. Now, we can't even pay the interest. We are so in debt. And then this guy, the orange mango, the tangerine Mussolini, done ran the deficit up 20 more trillion in 1 year. 20 trillion? Wait a minute. What in the world was Doge there for? I thought Doge was supposed to be trying to find money. So out of all of those government cuts that Elon Musk and Doge did, we still ran the deficit up 20 trillion. This right here alone should tell you that the man that y'all put in office, some of y'all put in office, is not a real businessman. He don't know business at all. Let's just stick with the business side. Forget the politics part. Business. If you took over a company that was already in debt, let's just say $300,000 in debt, and then you tacked on another $200,000, and now the company is $500,000 in debt, do you think you should keep your job? Not only did you run the deficit, the company's debt up $500,000, you fired over three-quarters of the staff. So what happened to all of that money that you was paying in the salaries and wages? What happened to that money? Because clearly anybody with a pea brain would have said, well, shoot, we done saved over $750,000 in wages. So why not we just take that money that we would have paid somebody and pay the deficit off, pay the debt off, $500,000. We still got $250,000 to the good. Now we can spread that money out and count that as bonus. But that didn't happen. See, because here's the thing. Americans, the majority of Americans, I'm trying not to get excited. The majority of Americans don't know squat. The majority of Americans are as dumb as a can of poking beans. The majority of Americans. The majority of Americans, they won't help, but they don't want to acknowledge that they asking the same government that they ridicule and criticize other people of nationalities for taking advantage of those same things. Why is it always people of color get caught for fraud and always deemed as the ones who use government assistance more than any other race of people on the planet Earth? But just the state of Kentucky, the two states of Kentucky and Indiana alone, there are more Caucasian people on food stamps in 2 states than there are of Black people in 50 states. Make it make sense. This is not a race thing. This is not. We are overstanding the matrix and how the matrix works. Certain information doesn't go out to all people. Certain schooling and book knowledge, this is information alone, period. It doesn't go out to all people. This is not race. This is about the haves and the have-nots. Donald Trump don't care nothing about nobody, black or white. He don't. He cares about nobody, black or white. This man has an arrogant chip on his shoulder with countries that didn't allow him to bring his golf courses in there. He's forever mad at the PGA. The PGA has not been on not one single golf course that Donald Trump owns in the entire time that he has owned golf courses. Not a single one. The PGA has not gone on a single one. So he's mad. He's mad at every country that wouldn't allow him to come in and buy land in their country to put a golf course on. He's mad. This man is mad at every college and university, prestigious college and university, that wouldn't allow his son to go into, be accepted by. That's why he was pissed at Harvard, Yale, NYU. This is why he's pissed. So now what we come to find out is this is not a black or white thing. This is about the haves and the have-nots. The haves and the have-nots. Have y'all seen how he talked to world leaders who have way more money? Country is not in debt, but he manhandling. Oh man, if this was about race, this man is still trying to get James Comey and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton locked up right along with Obama, Letitia James, and Fannie Willis. This man hates everybody. Why? Only time a person can contain and maintain that amount of hate is when they hate themselves. This man even hates his own children. Anytime a person sleeps and pays for a porn star or a stripper, and you got that kind of money and you got to pay for it, you hate yourself. You really do. You absolutely despise your life. You absolutely despise your life. Now, let's get back to this is all understanding how the Matrix has tricked and duped us, because we are caught up into the magic trick that's being done by the left hand, but we are not paying attention that the right hand from the government is in your pocket taking all your money. Distractions, ladies and gentlemen. Distractions. We are distracted by people in nice cars, people having airplanes, private jets, people having yachts, these big boats. We are distracted by people who have these custom RVs. We're distracted by people who wear Balenciaga, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. But here's a question that I asked a couple of weeks ago. Why you never see the owners of these brands wearing those brands? I did an open challenge for people to take a photo of the man that owns Christian Dior. He owns Christian Dior, Louis Vuitton, and Gucci. and you won't find a photo on the internet. Now, how do I know? Because I've not already researched it. The questions that I ask y'all are rhetorical. I've not already done the research. But you won't find them in the the high price clothing that they sell you. Mm. Mm. Crazy, ain't it? Crazy. Crazy. How come Elon Musk want to sell you a Tesla, but he driving in a Rolls Royce? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. This man is the richest man in the world by $200 billion over Jeff Bezos. Elon Musk is worth $468 billion. $200 million over Jeff Bezos. When have y'all seen him in Gucci? When have you seen him in Balenciaga? See, Minister Farrakhan told us a long time ago, we need to study. We need to study these people because clearly they are doing something that we are not privy to. Now, if they are doing something that we're not privy to, let's start right here. The average American don't even know that you can rent your house from yourself and then write that off as a tax write-off and get paid for living in a house that you're paying for. Let me say that again. The average person don't know that you can rent your house or rent your apartment from yourself and write off the bills, the upgrades, the new furniture, the new TVs, the new appliances. You can write that off, which would indirectly put the money that you are paying in property tax back in your pocket. You can get paid for living in your own house. Y'all didn't know that. I ain't talking about no damn HELOC and talking about all this other kind of. No, we're not talking about that. I gave y'all some titles and things to look up a few months when I first started talking about this. I told you to start checking into a cost segregation study. I told you to start looking into the Augusta rule. I told y'all to start looking into all of these write-offs, how to write your birthday off, how to write your vacation off, how to get paid for going on vacation. I told y'all weeks ago how to get paid for having the biggest birthday bash that you ever wanted to have. I told y'all weeks ago how to get paid and how to buy a free car. I told y'all all of that game. How many at least looked into it? How many of y'all looked into it? I would bet you $1 to a dime it was less than 2%. And I've been covering this subject about the Matrix for 3 months. For 3 months. But boy, as soon as y'all got that income tax check, if you even got it, because at one point in time, they held it up. How many of y'all got that income tax check and you bunted and you bought a car at the first of the year? Boy. This is what overstanding the matrix is all about. What? You mean to tell me I can buy a car for free? What does that even mean? Because that's an oxymoron. When you buy something, that means you spend money on it. But you telling me I could get it for free? Yes, I told y'all weeks ago there were 2 tax seasons, not one. There are 2 tax seasons. One for the rich, or one for the ones whose money worked for them, and the other season is for the ones who work for their money, which is you. Y'all work for y'all money. You trade time for dollars. You get up out your bed and early at the time that they told you you got to get up. Oh man, I'm losing folks on the streaming service, but I don't care. See, sometimes, Mrs. Farrakhan said that truth is like medicine. It's nasty too. Everybody, ain't no good taste of medicine. Even the one that they put flavors in is nasty. You don't want to take it. It's nasty. I don't want it. But it's going to heal you. Truth will heal you. But it's hard to go down sometimes. Boy. That's why we don't give ourselves a self-autopsy. This is why we don't give ourselves a straightening, like T.I. the rapper said. It's hard to give yourself a straightening because now you are face to face with truth. You don't like what you see. You don't like what you hear. This is why I turn away more people than I actually help people, because I bring them face to face with truth. And they don't like it. They don't like it. They don't like it. But somehow, I still remain blessed. I told my mother last week, I said, Mama, I wish God would bless somebody else. Because I can't take no more. I know me more than anybody else know me. One person can't look, because I don't want to get arrogant and haughty upon myself, because I know I do nothing of myself. I know that about me. I don't have none of this because of anything that I did. First thing that I did was put this thing right here on a mental diet. I put this on a mental diet. From me putting this on a mental diet, I stopped taking in all of that mental food that was not doing anything for the betterment of me. That's a hard thing for people to do sometimes. That's a hard thing for people to do sometimes. When I started seeing this thing open up to me, it was like a light bulb that just said, oh, let there be light, and there was light. Light meaning, in this case, understanding. I'm not fumbling around in the darkness of life no more. I can see. It's like you can turn off every light in your house. I guarantee you, go on the opposite end of your house, turn off every light, cover up everything that's reflective of light. I guarantee you're going to do this right here. You're going to be feeling around still. You put every piece of furniture in your house. You decorated your house. You know what a couch is. You know what a table is. I guarantee and I bet you still going to bump into something. And you know where you put stuff at. That's what I was doing. I was feeling around in the darkness of life. And then when the light came on, I was like, I would be a plumb fool to turn the lights back off and think that I know the way. That's what the matrix is, ladies and gentlemen. You've been asleep the whole time. It's no wonder they don't want you to be woke. Cat Williams told us that. The opposite of woke is asleep. Why does the haves want you to stay asleep? Because staying asleep kept you in bad debt. Staying asleep kept you on the hamster wheel until you turned 65 And now you're going to call that a retirement, but your retirement is Social Security. Now, this is something I want to point y'all out to. If Social Security is already gone by 2032, anything that's in Social Security fund will be evaporated. So everybody who is working now, in the next 6 years, I won't have a Social Security to draw from. My children won't have a Social Security to draw from. It is gone. I didn't put that out there. This is not fear tactics. This is not fear mongering. This is go and research this. The federal government put this out. I told y'all months ago how Social Security was depleted and how it was being depleted. Every time that they go to war, they borrow money from Social Security. And they always thought that they had time under the interest of whatever interest the government had in said conflict or said disagreement, that they was going to replenish the coffers of Social Security. But it never happened. Somebody else intercepted that money before it got to the government. Who was that? The big three. The big three richest families in the world. Huh? They got the money first. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we talk about. The majority of Americans can't be held at fault for not even knowing what to ask for because they didn't even know that it was possible. No other government is set up in the world like this system in the United States. That's what makes the United States so attractive, but it is corrupt from its very core. Greed, ladies and gentlemen, is what's ruining this country. Nobody else in the world hates America because of its quote unquote freedoms. Y'all finding out right now you ain't free. How can anybody be jealous of this? How can anybody be jealous of the most taxed country in the world? You think somebody want to be, you think somebody is jealous of this? How can anybody be jealous of the most taxed, corrupt system in the world? This is the same system. This is the same part of the matrix that voted no at the United Nations, at NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO. They voted on the world stage of NATO that slavery was not the most diabolical thing on humanity. This country, it was 3 of them. Now peep the play, because I'm going to tell y'all why they voted no. Israel voted no because if the World Alliance says that the transatlantic slave trade was the worst crime on humanity, that means that the Holocaust is now second place. Israel can't play the victim no more. Israel can't get money from countries no more. That means that black people is going to have to start getting money from all of these countries, and Israel say, hell no, it wasn't the worst one. Oh my God. Oh my God. Israel says 6 million people died in the ovens of the Holocaust, which is tragic. But 10 million people either jumped or was thrown overboard through the Middle Passages coming to the slave farms, which was in Argentina, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Jamaica, and the Virgin Islands. All of these places, and even Cuba. This is where they broke the slave before they came to America. There is a book that's out called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. I encourage y'all to read that book because it was the Jewish people that financed the money for the slave ships. I didn't write the book. It was written by Jewish rabbis. So this is not anti-Semitic. This is not anti-Semitic. It was written by them. So what you gonna do? Call your own rabbis anti-Semitic? You know they're not gonna do that. That's what makes that book so powerful. It was written by them. Their convicting spirit caused them to tell the truth. Argentina said no because they would have been publicly acknowledging their hand into the breaking of the slave on that continent. And America was just going to say no because they don't never do nothing wrong. If they had to, if America ever had to acknowledge, I mean, come on now, Barack Obama wouldn't even apologize for it. That's how controlling this system is. Barack Obama wouldn't even apologize for the slave trade on behalf of white America. He didn't do that because he would have knew that was the end of his presidency. He would have been a one-term president. That's why he couldn't give you reparations. Well, no, he couldn't give you reparations because you were already given it at birth. The Matrix, y'all didn't even know. Y'all were born millionaires in this country. I was telling somebody else today. I was telling them, go back and research the UCC-1, the UPU Treaty of 1868. Now, here's the funny part. This is how y'all know AI ain't what AI y'all think AI is. The original UPU Treaty was done in 1863. But AI will tell you that the UPU Treaty, the United Postal Union, wasn't created until 1867, which I know that's a lie. You can find that in the library. But AI gonna tell you, that's not accurate. See, trust me, I was arguing with AI. You a lie. I know that for a fact. It was amended in 1867, and then amended again. No, it was amended in 1865, then amended again in 1867, and then the final amendment was because they brought other countries in 1868. That's when they start breaking down and telling you how you can pay your bills with postage stamps. This was back during the horse and buggy days, when you used to trade and barter. Funniest thing, ladies and gentlemen, Only time that a law is gotten rid of is when it's abolished. If they amend the law, that just means they add to. They add to it. So the law of paying your bills with goods and not cash, because you got to keep in mind, American currency wasn't created at that time. I believe, yes, it was. Yes, it was. Let me tell you a story. I take that back. It was the American dollar was this big. It was this big back then. That thing was like folding up a piece of cardboard. But the current system that was on, the Federal Reserve was not created at that time. The Federal Reserve didn't come until almost 100 years later. The U.S. Treasury Department was printing money so daggone big because at that time, we were on the gold standard, the gold and silver standard. The West, how the West was run, they going all the way up to Montana, mining gold. That was the currency. But if you didn't have gold or silver to trade, you traded your crops, horses, goats, sheep, corn. You traded that stuff. So that became law. I told you guys weeks ago, you can go on the YouTube and literally see. This is what frustrates me about these people, because they go to thumb and they know that the government, because they know what they're doing, they know it's accurate. But you can't piss the government off by doing cornball stuff, because that's when they start changing laws. That's when they start changing laws. When you go to start doing cornball stuff by walking into the power company and throwing down a 50-pound sack of potatoes to pay your power bill, you ignorant dummy. Now you make it hard for everybody. Some people who take my course, they are already facing pushback. Pushback. The government know what you're doing, man, when you start LLC in your name. The government know what you're doing when you start asking for your long-form birth certificate. The government knows what you're doing when you started writing and submitting letters to the Secretary of State, both federal and statewide. The government know what you're doing when you're trying to claim your national status. Somebody is waking you up. The first obstacle that I faced when I first started doing it, they were like, oh no, you can't get that money. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't even know the Federal Reserve had an account under my name, which ChatGPT will tell you, no, that's not accurate. That's a lie. That's a lie. I showed y'all how to find out that you got an actual account at the Federal Reserve. I showed y'all that by simply putting your routing number and your Federal Reserve account number, put that into Amazon as your secondary form of payment, and watch that bank account pop up. I told you. If y'all was watching the podcast then or listening to it, you call the replay, I showed y'all step by step. Find out where your federal account was and how you know if it was real. All you got to do is list it on Amazon. It's gonna pop up the bank, the state, and everything. Whoop. Now, if that account wasn't real, according to ChatGPT and Grok, if that wasn't real, why does it register on your Amazon account? And then let me tell you what's gonna come in 3 days later. Because by the time that 3 days, Amazon has tried to verify the account. Then Amazon gonna send you a statement that said, they ain't gonna say that this is a fake account. They're gonna say that this account is not active. Right hand. Amazon is going to send you a notification that says this account is not active for access. They're not going to tell you that it's not a real account. They're just going to say that you can't pay your stuff with Amazon through this account. That tells you that this is why I tell people, when the first thing they're going to ask you, man, how can I get a hold of that money? You can't. You can't. Well, Muhammad, what's the use of us knowing that we got an account? See, that's when I count people. That's when like remember I told y'all, I turn away more people than I help because all they're concerned with is the money. Money is not your problem. This right here is your problem. Money is not your problem. What you gonna do with all that money in the first place? Somebody drop in the comments, what are you going to do? What would you do if you had access to the money in your securities trust? What would you do with the money? Put that in the comments, please. Let me get my spectacles. Put that in the comments. What would you do with all of the millions that's been flipping in your securities trust since the day you were born? What you gonna do with that money? Huh? Your mind has never thought past the money that you earn on your job. So you don't know what you'll do with it. You don't know what you'll do with it. You ain't never had that much money in your possession. But when people do their consultation and they keep pressing about the money, they keep pressing about the money, and they get agitated and irritated about the money. See, this is when corporate America will do what they just did last weekend. They will have a reparation sale. And guess what? The majority, 99.9% of the people going to do, give it all back. Every raggedy shotgun house that they could never sell on the regular market, oh yeah. And then here's how greedy America going to do. They're going to double the price on everything because now you're sitting on millions. You never had that much money in your hands before. You don't know how to invest because you never took the time to even look into investing. You don't know what business to start because you never thought that starting a business was even possible under your current income status. Huh? The majority of you still don't even know. Go LLC your name. LLC your name. You are already the business that is doing trade with a registered company already. You just decided to go and sign up as an employee because you wanted that job because it had good benefits. We had that job at the plant where they got good health insurance. You don't even realize that you can make more money as a 1099 than you can as a W-2, as an I-9? Anybody ever looked up what I-9 means? But you want to put your hands on millions of dollars when you don't even know that you are already a slave. They took slavery and decided to pay you peanuts for it and made you feel good about it. Think about that. Think about that. And then they saw how well positions worked during the times of slavery. They saw how well positions worked. And so they give you a little position as a trainer. And then, boy, they polished that turd up, boy, and made you a head trainer. They polished that turd, boy. Then they said, we're going to make you a lead man. Oh, boy, that sounds good. Ooh, I'm a lead man at my job. I'm a supervisor. I'm a manager at my job. They gave you a polished turd. Shut up. That's what they gave you, a polished turd. And you feel good about that polished turd. Because why? You ain't got to work on the line no more. You just fill in when people got to take a bathroom break. And then you walk around with a clipboard thinking you somebody. Oh, my God. Hold up. Y'all, man. This thing, hey, look. Again. Man, when the lights came on, yo, when the lights came on, I would have been a fool. Now y'all back TikTok, my bad. How do you LLC your name and how much can you get from it? Oh. All right, hold on. Let's talk directly. Mr. Q&A. All right, I see I got to go back. I'm going to start with the very first question, but I'm going to get to you. Give them a shout out. Okay. Is the podcast still available? Yes, podcast still available. It's on the Plugged In with RD Muhammad. I stream on 14 different platforms, QB1, or OB1 Kenobi. Here we go. Is a long time watching and rising star. Thank you for watching the show, tuning in. I'm getting back to you guys in a minute. Live more comfortable. Yes, living more comfortable. Living free is why we do this. Most people can't understand what that word free is. Let me tell y'all what free is under this system. When you finally have taken the red pill and you are now woke. Living free is options. See, under the sleep text, either you work until you die and you hope that you will die safely in your sleep. Everybody wants to die in their sleep, just go all calm and peaceful. And they don't want nothing. Most people think that they're not going to have a tragic, painful death. Some of y'all going to have a tragic, painful death. But see, when you're asleep, you hope. That's what the Matrix is. The Matrix gives you hope. Hope is the worst thing that you can play with. But let's talk, how do I inbox you, sir? The inbox is hit the DM message box. That's simple. All right. I have a reparations plan. Mr. Q&A. The reparations plan is null and void. They've already paid it. They paid that over 400 years ago. It's already been paid. What's going on, Brother Square? You already know. Alonzo. Let's talk directly. You can email me at robert@bookrdmonline.com. Is a long time watching user somebody. Now, how do you LLC your name and how much can you get from it? This is the one that, no, Mr. Q&A, we can't get a panel because I don't like doing a whole bunch of rhetoric back and forth with people that don't. I don't debate. I only debate with my equal. And I don't want this to come off as crass or hyperbolic, or not just hyperbolic, but narcissistic or egotistical. I I don't debate. I only debate with people who are my equal. Everybody else I teach. I got 15 years into this study alone. I live this life. You have to go and look at my other videos. I show proof that I live this life. I'm not just one of these influencers that come on here and try to take y'all money by giving y'all a whole bunch of talking points and highlight reels. I actually study this. I have my library is right in front of me on the other side of the wall. Books, no cap. More books that I just don't go and buy stuff. I download a lot of free stuff. A lot of ebooks you can download in the print. Because sometimes I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. So sometimes I got to go back and read stuff 2 or 3 times. And I like to read it at my own pace. Let me show y'all just how deep this thing goes. When I tell you reputable sites, what does that say? Library of Congress. Y'all see that on the podcast? I read information that the average person didn't even know was even out there. Hold up. How to autograph your name or your UCC. I live this life. Y'all see that? How to autograph your name according to the UCC. There is a certain way. These people out here that's telling y'all on social media, oh, you got to endorse that remittance coupon. Lie. And I challenge any one of them. Any one of them. Again, I don't debate. I only debate with people that's on my same level. And that's somebody who has at least 15 years or more. Not somebody who just popped up and started listening to other influencers. And now they're out here just taking y'all money. Like this guy that was out here talking earlier today. Man, y'all need to stop spending y'all money on the LLC and y'all need to start going to an escort. Bro, if you're not making 60,000, if you ain't doing 60,000, I'm gonna say 60,000 a month. Scrap 60,000 a year. If you're not doing 60,000 a month and you got at least 25 employees, a 5,000 square foot building, and you're selling products internationally, not just locally, you don't need no escort. You paying in taxes that you shouldn't be paying into. I heard Grant Cardone say one time, it is your constitutional right to not pay taxes at all. Now, somebody going to say, man, Wesley Snipes tried that too. No, Wesley Snipes was still getting paychecks under his name. Mistake number one. Mistake number one. Thinking that taxes aren't going to be paid. Lie. Somebody got to pay the taxes. You just don't need to be you personally. Your business needs to pay all of the taxations because the IRS tax code is created and set up for businesses, not you. That's why you keep getting hit over the head with all of them taxes. You get taxed before you get your check. You get taxed after you get your check. You get taxed when you go get groceries. You get taxed when you go buy gas. You get taxed again when you go buy clothes, shoes. You get a haircut. If you pay with that credit card or debit card, you're getting taxed again. Now, when you go get your nails done, lady, you're getting taxed again. When you go buying that yucky human weave, you're getting taxed again. When you buying them fake eyelashes, you're getting taxed again. We are the most taxed country in the world. And when you spend your money, You don't get nothing in return but stuff. That's all you get. When you go buy a car, a much needed car that you got to have in order to go to work, you don't get no money for buying that car. Because the system, the matrix is not designed for you as a person. Grab your pen and paper, family. I'm going to give y'all the game on how to buy a free car. Remember I told you it's 2 tax seasons. One, January through April the 15th. Second tax season is from September to December. Y'all didn't know that. The person who did your taxes don't know that. Because they are industry plants. Oh, y'all thought they worked for y'all because they got y'all a couple of $1,000s. Man, Miss Karen good, man. She got me back $5,000. If Miss Karen was that good, Miss Karen would know all of the deductions that you could take, and not just the ones that H&R Block class give her on a touch-up every year. See, I guarantee you $1 to a dime. Miss Cameron ain't getting paid for her gas. I bet you $1 to a dime. I bet you any amount of money I got in my bank account. Miss Karen's still making payments on her car. I bet you any amount of money in my bank. I got 5 bank accounts. I bet you all of them. Miss Karen's still paying for her house out of her personal bank account. Paying all of her insurance out of her personal bank account. Paying her tag, her license out of her personal bank account. Her tire rotations, her oil changes. I bet she paying all of that out of her personal bank account and ain't getting none of it back. This very computer and camera that y'all are watching me on, it was free. And then on top of it being free, I get to write it off every year that y'all see my lovely face on it. This is the gift that keeps on giving. Every year, I get paid for this here laptop and this here camera. My lights, my microphones, my company phone, a landline. Y'all see that? A landline. This is free. My printer paper, my ink. All of these books that I have printed off, all of these books that I have printed off about this business. Look, let me tell you how to write how to write a business proposal. I studied this thing. All of this information is going into my new book. Development policies. Some of y'all never even thought that. This got to be a part of your business strategy. Y'all see that right there? Facebook? Everybody else? All of this stuff got to be a part of your business strategy. You didn't even know that was in existence. When I tell y'all I live this life, man, I have dedicated my life to giving the people information. So, to answer your question, how do you LLC your name? The same way you will LLC a business. Just that simple. You will write your name in all caps, your entire name, your first, middle, and last. Even if you got JR, the 3rd, the 4th, the 15th, whatever the case may be. However your name is on your social security card, your birth certificate, and your driver's license, that's the name you need to LLC. Not your nickname, not Ray Ray's, not Pookie. Your government name. Now, let me tell you what you just done. You just made yourself a corporate entity. Now, with registering your name as an LLC, you can now get an EIN number, which I would get the EIN number first and then register. An EIN number has 9 digits, just like your social security number, just like your passport number has 9 digits. I don't use my social security number. For what? For what? That's personal. I operate as a business, as a corporate entity. I don't need to use my social. Did you know that your business and your EIN number carries more weight and credibility than your name and your social? Uh-huh. Your EIN number and your business carries more weight than you do and your social. Your personal credit can only go as high as a 900. Nobody ever have a 900. Nobody will ever have a 900. Why? Because your credit goes up and down like this every month. Man, but I pay my bills on time. Do you pay by the due date or do you pay by the bill date? See, some of y'all didn't even know that it's 2 dates. You have a bill date, the date that the bill is created, and then you have a due date. And then, listen, let me tell you what drives your credit down even further. These companies that got so slick, they ask you, well, when do you want to make your payment? Oh, my God. And you just shot yourself in the foot. Man, I pay about the 15th because all of my utility bills come out on the 1st. Guess what you just did? Your bill is already 12 days late. And you sitting there telling me, man, I pay my bills on time. No, you don't. Look at your contracts. Contractual law is the only law that stands by itself. The problem is y'all still got the blue pill and you still asleep. You don't read your contracts that you sign. Who has read every last debt that you created, be it car note, utility bill, mortgage, rent? Who has read those papers? But then don't they tell you always read and especially read the fine print? But no, you don't. You just so happy that you got something. And then you voluntarily sign the contract that you gonna be late, knowingly you gonna be late. And your credit doing like that. You pay it, brings it back up, then it goes back down again because every month you are going to be late. That's what happens when you put this up under your personal social security number. But guess what? As a business with the Duns and Bradstreet number, I just need to maintain a business credit of 80 and 80, 7980. That's all I need. And I got the equivalent of $250,000 line of credit. Who winning? Who's winning? You can't get $250,000 under your name. Why? Because you don't make that much every year. When you are an employee, listen to me now, listen to me well. You are an employee, you are worth no more money than what you make on that job. I don't care how many Dodge Chargers you got out there in the yard. I don't care how many R7s you driving and souped up motors. I don't care how many Harley Davidsons you got that you struggling to make them payments on all that stuff. I don't care if you got an 800 credit score. Your credit is only as high as what you make every year. This is why creditors start looking at your debt to credit ratio, your FICO score. Come on, somebody talk back to me. I don't care about your credit number. They want to know if you got enough money to pay this stuff back. That's what they want to know. You can't get $250,000 line of credit when you only making $75,000, $85,000 a year. You can't pay it back. So when you LLC your name, whoever that user is, that's what happens when you LLC your name. No, sorry, Mr. Q&A. I don't do discussions. I'm sorry about that, fam. Slavery now has been deemed officially by NATO as a crime. The worst crime against humanity, officially, that just passed last month. The world is now recognized. The world. And the ordinance was passed under NATO. 32 countries, only 3 said no. But back to the business. You said you was out. Fine, brother. I understand, but no, I don't do open panels because I don't have time to do a whole lot of back and forth. I don't do a whole lot of back and forth. Sorry if y'all feel that way. My platform is to give you information. Enough information for you to go and research it yourself. I don't want anybody to take my word as the gospel. That means you are not going to go back and research it for yourself. I'm no preacher. That's what they do in the church. The church preachers give a whole lot of good rhyming and reasoning work. Y'all ever notice that every preacher sound like Martin Luther King? Why is that? Martin Luther King been dead since 1968. But why do preachers in 2026 all try to rhyme like Martin did? So sad. Nobody don't even have their own style no more. No wonder the government has been able to weave themselves into the church. See, Satan now has come into the church, the synagogue and the mosque, and he's sitting right down with the sanctified saint people. You ain't got to like it. Told you. Medicine is hard to digest. The book called Bible even said that. The book called Bible said the sons and the daughters was walking up to talk to God, and Satan was right there amongst them. How could that be? How could that be that the sons and daughters of God was going up to talk to their father, and Satan was amongst them, and they didn't even know Satan was with them? That means that he had them tricked the sons and the daughters. And you think that You so special that Satan ain't coming up in your sanctified Holy Ghost filled church and whispering in the preacher ear and the honor. Now, see, that's just so crazy right there within itself. This is how you know that the government has manipulated and weaved itself into the fabric of the church. The law is clear. There is a separation between church and state. But then some kind of way, a politician works his way into the church and tell y'all who you should vote for. Nobody saw that. That's suspicious. Nobody thought that as suspicious. You got lunatic, the Department of, this dude is so full of crap, man. The Department of Defense now, that the one that's leading that, is starting the Department of Defense meetings with a war prayer of saying, punish our enemies in the most violent, volatile way. Wait a minute. Where did Jesus say do that? Where does Jesus say that? And you are amening and clapping for that? No wonder it's so easy to trick the people. No wonder. No wonder. That's ironic. You sound like you are preaching. No, I'm not a preacher. Not at all. Not at all, John. Nowhere near it. Far from it. Unqualified to be a preacher. I speak from a place of, I'm just like you. 15 years. I was you. Let me tell y'all, if y'all read my first book, I went into this story. So I'm not telling nothing that I haven't put out there publicly. I worked for this company for 14 years in Gaston, Alabama. Faithfully. Showed up to work on time. Did my job. Even did my job before I was hired as an industrial mechanic. I was working on a line, working on my own machine because I got paid by production. So I didn't wait on the mechanics to come in and fix my machine. I worked on my machine myself. And it wasn't until one of the mechanics caught me up under the machine working on it, and I didn't stop a beat. I told him, hey, hand me your Allen wrenches. And he said, you know what you're doing? Sure do. That's how I went from a what they call a boxer. I was boxing the product till I went to a mechanic, an industrial mechanic working on the machines to keep them running. 14 years. Went in one day, them folks said, I think it's time we separate. Y'all firing me? No, we're not firing you. We just think we're going to, well, if you ain't firing me and I'm not quitting, I'm going to go back to work. Oh, no. You need to exit the building. Wow. Wow. Escorted me out the door. But before that, gave me a severance package. I worked for these folks for 14 years. I have never, ever heard or seen anybody get a severance package. I said, I got something on it, but I just don't know what it was. It drove me out of my mind. And I had 3 days to decide to sign it. They gave me over the weekend to either sign it or take it to court. Well, how in the hell can I take it to court and I don't even know what I'm taking to court? Because if I challenge it and I don't know what I got on them, they knew I had something. But they rolled a dice that I didn't know what it was, and they would have won. It drove me crazy. True story. I was so crazy. I sold everything that I had, jumped on my motorcycle, and drove 9 hours, rode 9 hours to Jacksonville, Florida, where I didn't know nobody from a can of paint. And I said, this is what I'm going to do. I ain't have a pot to piss in or a bed to hide it up under. True story. I was, how can somebody do me like that after 14 years of service? 14 years. And then the killer part was they paid me to stay at home. Wait a minute. Who does this? Who the crazy one? Y'all or me? Y'all gonna fire me, but then you gonna pay me to stay at home. Who does that? I know I got something. And what drove me crazy was I couldn't figure out what I had on them. Couldn't figure it out. By the time I did, the statutes was already gone. I had done already signed the severance package. No retaliation. I took the money. But when the money ran out, that September, they fired me in February. I got paid all the way up to September to stay away. When the money ran out, I was sure enough stone food. Never thought about what I was going to do when the money ran out. In those 9 short months, ladies and gentlemen, I was just like the prodigal son. I was out there living my best life for 9 months. And then when the money ran out, only reason I was even talking to a woman because she had a roof. It didn't make no difference, fat, skinny, ugly, tall, short. She could have been a little person. I wouldn't have cared if she had 3 teeth. She got a roof. Oh, we couldn't get it in. Crazy. Crazy. But then, 5 years after that, situation happened. I wound up going back home to restart. Start all over again. Ground zero. Started working for a company, another company, a garment company. Y'all know the name of it. I can't say their name either. Me and my supervisor didn't see eye to eye. By this time, I done figured out I don't trust nobody on no job. I'm going to show up, do what I said I was going to do, but don't ask me to do no extra. Don't ask me. Started out in the back with them stinking clothes, putting them in the slings to go and send them to get washed. Worked my way from back there to the line to a loader, and then all the way to driving the truck on delivery. Me and the other black supervisor, ain't but 2 black people up in this front. Me and him. Boy, woof. I now felt the anger of what the field slaves felt against the house slaves. First time in my life I had ever encountered that. But this dude was searching over your cookie. I'm telling you. He told me, now I'm telling y'all this because this is how the metric works. It distracts you from actually knowing what you can achieve and what you can get and what you can have. We exchange our time for dollars. Now, I was making way more money at this garment company than I was as an industrial mechanic. I'm making $98,000 a year with bonuses and all. Boy, I was living my best life. By this time, I had met my business advisor. I'm flying back and forth to Florida every 3 months, where I now live. Coming down here getting that business. Because I was only allowed to work 4 days and be off for 3. So I'm getting a vacation every 3 months. 7 days. I'm down here in Florida. getting my brain filled. See, now I got my head on right. I ain't trying to stay at this job. So I'm going to use this job to springboard this life that I live now. So when him and I got into it, it didn't hurt that bad like it did when I was with the other plant over there. I was ready. By this time, remember when I told y'all, or I put up a post and said, you got all the money that you need? That was because my advisor told me that. My advisor didn't tell me to get no loans. He said, they call me Cowboy. He said, Cowboy, you got everything you need. I'm arguing with a man who got is 12 figures. No, 9. 9 figures. I'm arguing with this man. And he in the upper 9s. I mean, the upper 9s. Closer to the 10 figures. I'm arguing with him in his house. Man, all this stuff you want me to do, man, I got to get a loan for this. No, you don't. Yes, I do. How are you going to tell me what I got in my pocket? I'm comfortable. But all of this stuff you're telling me to do? He said, stop drinking that McDonald's coffee you got to have every morning. Stop going out to eat. Same thing that I put into my video. Stop going out. Stop partying. You don't need no club. What's out there in the street that you ain't already seen? What's out there in the world that you ain't already did? Well, there's quite a few things. Is any of it going to make you any money? Nope, you're right. When he started breaking down to me how much money I was throwing away, light bulb, boom. Then he started teaching. This man didn't owe me nothing. He didn't know me from a can of paint. He didn't owe me one single thing. But he gave me the one thing that nobody else had ever gave me, and that was the correct information. Now, me, unlike most people who follow or watch me, he didn't teach me about going after the money. He taught me to go after the lifestyle. Y'all not picking up what I'm putting down. He said, find somebody's lifestyle that you like, and you do exactly what they did. I said, I kind of like the way you living. He said, well, you got to do exactly what I did. It was so funny because Shaq gave this example. Well, the first thing he told me was, he said, I need you to get better. I need you to get better. Then Shaq gave this example of how the average person looks at their finances. If this was $1 million, let's just say this is $100. This sheet of paper, $100. How would you split up this $100? You got bills, fun, saving, splurging. Them 4 things. How you gonna split it up? The average person, this is what they do. They'll split their money in half. Half go for bills. Then they'll take this half and they'll splurge. Then they'll tie splurging and fun into the same thing. So you're only getting half your bills paid, and the other half you're going to blow. This is how wealthy people do it. This goes to bills. This goes to investment. This is what you splurge off of. A quarter, 25% is for fun. 75% goes towards your future. But then you have people that sit back and say, you can't take it with you. I work for it. I can do what I want to with it. And that's why you go into them check cashing places. That's why you pawning your stuff. That's why your furniture, your TVs, all got a number wrote on it in chalk pen, because you're renting all your furniture and your TVs. That's why your credit is less than a 500. Oh boy, this medicine is hard. LLC your name. You become the business. Use your EIN number instead of your social security number. That's the first thing you start doing. And then stop filling out applications and turn in contracts. Don't become an employee of the business. Become a partner in the business. Now, let me tell you what you're giving up. No insurance. Don't get that. No workman's comp. You're going to lose that too. No 401k. You're going to lose that too. You're going to lose all your benefits from the job. But guess what? Instead of you walking in the door making $17.50, now you can negotiate your wage at $42.50. Y'all see? Who doing better? Who doing better? Let me tell you something. Get your last check stub. Friday just passed 2 days ago. You still have somewhere. Add up all of those deductions from your check stub. Multiply that by 4. And then multiply that by 12. That's how much money you losing. And that's how much money I done added. I don't care who you are, where you are. Because whatever number it is, I done doubled it. Now, I pay my own insurance, which there are health insurance. There's a system, especially down here in Florida. If you are anywhere near Florida, y'all know about the network down here, where you can pay $100 a month. Some of y'all Blue Cross Blue Shield, you paying $178 a week. In the state of Florida, when you join the network, you pay $100 a month. First thing I looked at was, when was the last time I've been to the doctor? I have never been in a hospital. Well, saying that, when I did my sleep study, I got sleep apnea. That's why I'm clogged up all the time. And I should have went ahead and had my acnoids taken out. I heard if you take your acnoids out, that'll stop you from sounding like a freight train when you sleep and keep you from being snotty nose. But I have never been to a hospital, never had surgery, no limbs, no broken bones, no nothing. Why am I paying all this damn money in insurance? So it was easy for me to let the job insurance go. You get a free dental cleaning every 6 months if you got dental insurance. All you get is a cleaning. Y'all know how much a cleaning is if you just walked in the door and said, hey, doc, I want to clean my teeth. You can't pay that out your pocket. So you spending money on dental insurance that you can pay out of your pocket for less than what you paying for dental insurance every 6 months. Let's just say you're paying $30 a month for dental insurance. 6 months, that's $180. Guess how much it is for a teeth cleaning? $150. I'm gonna save $30. Optical. How much is it costing you to have optical insurance when you only get one eye exam a year? So you paying optical insurance every year for one exam, and then you still only get you pay a copay, but then you gotta pay for your contacts or your glasses out of pocket. You know how much an optical exam at Walmart is? $66.78. How do I know? Because I just had one did. I ran out of contacts. I had to go back and get another 6 months supply. How much were the contacts? $240. So in all, I'm out of $306 all year. How much are you paying on optical insurance every paycheck? Who came out better, me or you? Look at your own check stub. I ain't even got to be there. Y'all know I did. Health insurance? I just got rid of health insurance, life insurance. I mean, not life, health insurance, optical, and dental. Just got rid of all of that. Just got rid of workman's comp because you're paying the workman's comp. Even though the company say that they tell you that it's $10 a month for workman's comp. $10. And they only pay that if the company is at fault. But guess what happened? They tell you to go. They immediately do a drug screen and a blood work up on you. Because if it's your fault, now they're going to fire you and they ain't going to pay nothing. That's why a lot of y'all cop out when they start talking about blood work and urine tests. You know your urine, you already know you're going to pee straight dirt. You already know your bloodline is dirt. See, this system that we live in, y'all, you got to know, you got to understand. The things that we give up are really not something that you're going to miss. My insurance is cheaper. So all of the money that I just saved the company, I now negotiate that to come back as a part of my salary. I don't work for a wage. I get paid a salary. Contractual law. You work under an application. You exchange your time for dollars. You promise to show up to work, do the job, and then they promise to pay you. I get paid whether I show up or not. That's salary. What a difference. We coming up on 4th of July. Y'all plant gonna be closed. You ain't gonna make no money that day. I will. And any other holiday that comes during the week or on the weekend, it don't make no difference. I still get paid. And then here it is. You can get fired at any time. I can't. Contract. Now, that also means that I can't quit either. Why would I? When I'm on salary, living my best life. Now, let's wrap this thing up because we have been on here now almost 2 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, when you truly start to understand this thing called a matrix and how to work it, when you truly understand, there is no limit to what you can do. Not one. There is no limit. First of all, stop thinking money is a cure-all. Money is not going to fix your problem. putting this thing right here on a mental diet and having a mental autopsy, removing all, you got to remove all of it. I have removed so much filth and unnecessary stuff out of my cipher. I don't even miss it. I don't miss it. And give yourself a goal to obtain and don't stop until you hit it. Not just hit it, but exceed it. Y'all know what my first goal was? To go on a 30-day vacation and I don't take no luggage. Real talk. Real talk. That was my first goal, to go on a 30-day vacation and don't take any luggage. When I hit it, and then I looked to see how much money I had, I said, shoot, well, let's up that to 2 months vacation with no luggage. I can go on vacation for 2 months like the bosses do, and I come back and all my bills are still paid, and I've been MIA for 2 months. Oh my God. Oh my God. Invite me, you need to co-host. I don't know what that is, Miss Ty. I'm getting ready to wrap my show up, so if you want me to come on to yours, I will. But here's the thing, y'all. Get yourself a goal. Don't stop until you hit it. Stop trading your time for dollars. Become incorporate your name. You become the business and start sending out contracts. Stop sending out applications. The applications push you right back into the matrix. It keeps you trained and conditioned. Stop being excited and infatuated with titles that don't mean nothing. Just because you a little lead man, you still a worker. And some of y'all out here so crazy, man. Y'all protect these folks' jobs like it's your job. Oracle just laid off 30,000 people by email. Ain't that dirty? Oh, that's so nasty. 30,000 people got an email at 6 a.m. in the morning. You have been notified. Today is your last day of work. Don't even come in. You are no longer employed. Your key card and all the blah, 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 blah must be turned in by 12 o'clock noon. Checks will be in the mail. And y'all still think that y'all got some certainty on your job? I work for me. Can't nobody fire me but me. Can't nobody fire me but me. If I want a raise, you think I'm going to go ask somebody for it? I give myself a raise. Well, actually, I don't earn a paycheck. So that's what part of the matrix that I didn't get to. I don't pay no taxes. I don't pay no taxes. The business pays the taxes because I don't earn an income. Who else do you know in this world? The richest man in the world, I'm going to give y'all a hint. He don't pay no taxes. Guess who else don't pay no taxes? The Mango Mussolini. He don't pay no taxes. How? How can you, man, you don't earn no income? How can you be the richest man in the world and don't earn income? Ain't this what, don't y'all think y'all need to be trying to figure that part out? How can you be the richest man in the world, $468 billion, and you don't earn an income? So how they calculating that? According to your net worth. Tesla stocks are worth that much. Who owns Tesla? Ding, 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 ding. So why do you keep trying to put stuff in your name? Oh, man, I can go on forever, y'all. Listen, if you want to know more, you can reach out to me, 727-223-3714. That's the company's number. Call and schedule an appointment for a consult. Don't call me and start giving me a rundown about your business. Call and schedule a consult. I will determine from that consult if I will work with you or not. Before you call, make sure you have a written down plan, because I'm going to ask you, what's your plan? I'm going to ask you what your goals are. I'm going to ask you, what are you doing this for? I'm going to tell you right now, if you say money, it's going to be a no. I don't care who you are. I don't care what race, creed, color, religion, or gender. You sit up here and tell me you want to know how to get access to your security trust, it's going to be a no. You want to know how to get $250,000 worth of credit, and then I ask you what your credit score is, and you done had all year to fix your credit. If your credit is under a 660, don't contact me. Get your credit right first. I'll help you if you get your credit right. Don't sit up here and ask me about how to get business funding and your personal credit is less than a 660. I'm not going to help you. I will let some of these other people who are out here to take your money, I'll let them do that. That's not what I'm here for. In my 4th book called Swimming with the Shark, which is available on Amazon, in that book, y'all will see people that I have helped in business because they understood that it wasn't about the money. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. Robert at bookrdmonline.com. Ronald Davis Mary online, ONILINE.com. Robert at book, BOOK, RDMonline.com. You can shoot me an email to schedule your appointment, which will probably be best because attached to that is my Google Calendar. It's 15-minute consult. If you call 727-223-3714, I'm very busy. You need to call with a date. Now, here's the other part. Once an appointment is scheduled and you miss it, I will never call you again because you set the date. If you ain't dead, don't call me again. And the reason why I say that, my grandma used to tell me, you do what you want to do. You need to tell everything else in your cipher that it needs to get in compliance, because for them 15 minutes, you need to have absolute total quietness. Don't have your bad ass children running in and out the door, slamming doors, and then I got to sit up here and listen to you fuss at your children. I will hang up the phone on you. Get your life right. Get your day right. Because that's what this life entails. Discipline. Focus. And if you ain't got discipline and focus in your household, you're not going to have discipline and focus in trying to set up your business. You think it's hard. Y'all ain't seen no 100-hour work weeks. You ain't seen that. You ain't seen 4 hours, 2 hours of sleep. You ain't seen that yet. multiple times, back-to-back days. Because if you want to live this life, you got to start figuring out what you're going to sacrifice in order to live this life. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace, family.